All right, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me on the Top Agent podcast. Really excited
Hey,
to be speaking with you.
yeah, Costa, thanks. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to speak with your audience.
Absolutely. So, you have such an inspiring story. From the bio I read, you overcame such an unfortunate tragedy in your life, and you're able to harness that into just positive energy and just great outcomes for yourself. So, I was really excited to be speaking with you. Can you just tell us a bit about, your background and what you currently do?
Yeah, for sure. My background is pretty traditional, wherein I grew up in a normal home. Parents were entrepreneurs themselves, owned a small business. Went to college and received my master's degree in education, and I felt very unfulfilled as a teacher. My mom had been in the real estate business for quite some time, over 20 years, and I was literally kind of in her office, kind of looking for some mentorship because I was ultimately um, dabbling in my own entrepreneurial kind of experience where I owned a kids fitness business. And she took a lead one day, and literally it was just a rental lead, and she was like, "I don't have time for that," and I was like, "Well, I do." So that's kind of where my real estate career began. But you brought up, a good point and some trauma that did happen in my life, which really kind of catapulted me into owning, I would say, more of who I am and who I was, and entrusting my instincts to kind of push further. My daughter's father was in a serious car accident, suffered a traumatic brain injury, and it was the first time that I realized that I was not in control. And that was kind of the give up kind of moment, not give up, but give in to a higher power who really ultimately led me down to this financially freeing life that I'm living now.
Truly inspiring coming from someone like myself. Like I'm a dad. I have two young, small children, and that's obviously really touching. So great to hear though about again just doing so successful and doing so well in real estate. Thanks for sharing that. So a lot I want to unpack and just like provide as much value and insights to my audience as possible. Um, you wrote a book called Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent, 7 Steps to Make 100,000 a year. I would love to try and unpack that a bit because I'm sure there's a lot of valuable nuggets in there. Tell me first of all, like what the book, what it's all about.
The book kind of came out of mom and I had opened our own brokerage, and we had seen, as you know, national statistics kind of show that about 86% of new agents leave the business within the first 2 years. And we were seeing within our own brokerage that those stats were holding true. And we really didn't realize like what was happening. But it was that we didn't have a training program. There was no coaching, no mentoring going on for our agents. And that's kind of where this 7 Saturdays success training came out of. And once we implemented that, I realized that our agents were starting to be successful from it, and they were getting the nuggets that they needed. I knew I needed to touch a broader audience because I knew there were people who were like us who were kind of struggling in these 2 years where agents were not staying within the business. And I just wanted to be able to provide that training to the masses, so to speak.
Love it. That's awesome. When did you release that book?
The book has been out almost about a year, since August now. Yeah, August. It's been
Okay.
out on Amazon. You can download it there. Although I'd love to give your your audience a gift here, and they can download the book for free. We'll get to that at the end, I
Love
guess.
it. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So I'm not sure how much you want to give away from the book right now, but 7 steps to make 100K. What would you say are two or three important or some of the most important steps a realtor has to make to earn that 6 figures a year?
Yeah, I think the first step is everything that I realized, and I utilized my teaching background, was reverse engineering everything, knowing what number or what outcome you wanted to happen, and then working backwards so that you know what to do on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis in order to hit that goal. So that would be my first kind of step, is to reverse engineer. If you want to make 100K, what do you need to do on a monthly basis? What does your business look like on a monthly basis? And then what do you do weekly in order to achieve those monthly goals, and obviously on a daily basis? So we use a daily success habit kind of scoring card. I got this kind of from Verl Workman, one of my coaches, that he implements a 61 points of rhythm where you're doing more 61 points of active prospecting. So that's making phone calls, um, reaching out to your top 50 people within your network, it's sending out cards, things of that. More, like I said, active action as opposed to just passive, and allowing, your big Z, as I call them, to have the leads come into you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that a bit later on about like nurturing and stuff. So that's a good point. It's funny. Like a lot of the stuff, it's if when you really read it and unpack it, it's very logical. But I just find a lot of people they struggle to actually put it in motion and put it in practice. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's right there for them. There are so many. I think I have like 25,000 agents just within my MLS, and it's obviously not rocket science, right? I always teach my first agents who are new in the business. You have the skills. You come from a background where you already have skills that can kind of lead you and guide you, as I did with my education. Being a teacher and everything. I kind of treat all of my clients like my students and nurture them through the process. Um, but if you can use those 50 people that you work with and network with and are in your school and community groups with, those are your prospects. Those are your future clients that you're going to be able to work with. So the resources, yeah, are definitely there.
Yeah, love it. So it leads into my next question. So, you know, the most popular topic and sort of question realtors have, both new realtors just starting out or experienced veterans, is how to generate leads and just fill up
Mm.
your prospects continuously. So, what are some strategic, actionable steps or tips realtors can make that you want to share to help them get in front of more prospects and leads?
I'm a little bit of a hybrid between old school and new school, social media, as opposed to this kind of door knocking activity. I do a little bit of both, I'll be honest with you. I'm definitely past the stage where I'm knocking on doors, where 70% of my business now is more referrals. But I'm definitely this hybrid agent where I definitely use one platform. And that's what I'm comfortable with on social media. I'm comfortable with one platform. I mean, there are many agents out there that's strictly their lead generation right now. I do cold calls still. I love it. I love being on the phone and talking to people, and it works for me where I'm able just to kind of create a relationship. I don't necessarily go in like, do you want to sell your house? Like, that's not me. That's not who I am. I go in just wanting to create a relationship with the person on the other line. Is there anything that I could do to help you regarding real estate today?
I don't think there's a right or wrong, and like you said, it's whatever works for you. Like I've spoken to agents who like just do door knocking and generate listing appointments like every single week, and
Mm-hmm.
others who don't do that and just do online stuff. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's what you're comfortable with, and maybe more importantly, what you're good at as well. Um, I'm personally a big fan of just niching down, which applies to any business in the world, including real estate, is just targeting a segment of clients or customers rather than just trying to or go after the entire market. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on niching down, particularly in real estate?
Yeah, more of like a farming of an area, so to
Yeah,
speak. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I stick with, and then I talk about it in my book that again, why I don't see why agents don't prospect in the neighborhood that they grew up with and where their community lies and ties are. So I truly try to stick with that and teach agents that as well. And I still do it. I don't live in the neighborhood that I grew up with, but that's where I prospect. I just select about 50 homes in one neighborhood because there are 10,000. And yeah, it definitely works. And I don't think necessarily that farming an area is definitely going to drive the business in immediately. It takes, science shows us that it takes 9 times for one person to remember your name and who you are and what you look like. So it's that constant, repetitive, door knocking, sending out postcards, sending a text message and email, that people are going to come back to you and realize, oh, she does know what's going on. He does know what's going on. It might make sense for me to reach out to them.
That's a good point. I love that. I say it all the time. Business and like real estate, it takes time. It's a marathon, not a race. I think too many people want to get to that finish line without, running the race. So,
Yeah,
um,
and by doing those activities, Costa, we're creating momentum. That's what
yeah,
this business and any business, I believe, is really all about, creating the momentum. It's the agents who start, stop, start again, stop, and like have this kind of up and down cycle where I don't think it necessarily works, and they get caught up in their own kind of belief system, negative belief system that doesn't really work. When you create the momentum, that's when the things start to happen and fall in place.
yeah, totally agree. And consistency as well. So you're definitely a fan of farming then. What about like other, segments or niches, like for example, just focusing on like first time buyers or investors, or do you think it's important to get that granular with
I,
your
I think
team?
it comes later on because in the beginning, we have to be this kind of chameleon. And I utilize, the DISC personality profiling to work with people who I know are going to be a good fit for me. Like I'm a high, I don't know if you know it, I'm a high D and C. So I'm a dominant and this kind of cautious, conservative kind of person. And in my ways, I really like working with people who are like me. And that's also sales too, right? 101. You're going to work with people who act and are like you. But in the beginning, I believe that we have to be this chameleon where we're working with people who aren't like us, but we have to transform and put on a kind of an actor's kind of face where we're more like them as opposed to ourselves. Working in the niches, I think, comes in kind of later on. I love working with investors because it's quick, it's to the point, direct, and let's get this deal over and done with. And that's totally me. Like, let's go, let's make it happen. Here we go.
Yeah, love it, love it. That's great. Um, so we're recording this in July 2020. I'm speaking to realtors in several different cities and in states and countries like Canada, US, and I've just been hearing how hot the real estate market is. Like in everywhere I speak to, I mean, Toronto, where I'm from, has always been a very hot market, one of the hottest in the world. But I'm hearing it in Georgia, Virginia, Colorado, like you name it. So if a realtor is in one of these hot markets, like how can they or how should they be capitalizing on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling the hotness here in New York as well. People are either are definitely leaving. So those other markets you're talking about is where they're going to be honest with you. Um, how do we kind of take advantage of this market and be prepared for it? I think it's just being open to it, to be ready, willing, and able to, put in the hours that you need to in order to serve your clients as well, but set up guidelines so that your clients and customers alike understand, like, um, I'm ready, willing, and able to help you, but there are certain points that I might not be able to. Having a team in place, now your dirty dozen, I think that's really where it comes to. So what I mean by that is having your attorneys, your title person, your mortgage lender, and having these team players that you can refer business to is really a way for us to kind of set us up right now.
Yeah, I love it. So you're feeling it's hot too where you are in New York.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I am getting through the pandemic, I was able to still list several properties and put about four or five under contract, using some virtual technology, and it worked out for us as well. But right now, I literally had to surround myself with more people and more team members. I grabbed two buyers agents from the office. I said, look, I have 20 listings. I need your help. I can't service them all. So they're really helping me, and we're doing moving forward. Multiple offers over asking, 10 to 20,000 over asking, and we just keep listing and making things happen for sure.
Where in New York are you again? Are you
I'm on Long Island, so I'm right
Long
on
Island?
the Nassau Queens border.
Okay.
What we're seeing is people from Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan really moving out. I think we're preparing ourselves for kids not going back to school for September, and I think parents are starting to worry, like, how am I going to be able to, work from home, homeschool, and be in a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment with a family of 4 or 5. It's just not feasible.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, so those are some of the things you're seeing and some of the trends.
Yeah, some
Interesting.
of that I would say, and more of a multi-generational kind of living in arrangements. So you may have like two sisters or mom and dad moving in with a family. A lot of that as well.
Nice. Okay. Very interesting. Um, so, getting back on track with sort of the business itself in real estate. So from an agent's perspective. So, you know, first step is sort of getting the leads and generating, the prospects, and then listing a property. So, let's say the sale is made, everything is good. You're happy, the client's happy. Last thing you want to do at that point is sort of neglect that client. And you touched on it earlier with like nurturing. If you buy and sell a home for a client, a realtor is earning, like, depending on where you're from, like tens and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in any business, to earn that kind of money, that's a significant and important client and relationship you should be maintaining and nurturing. So do you have any actionable tips on how realtors should be staying engaged and nurturing their clients?
I try to stay in touch with my clients on a bi-weekly, those who I've sold already on a, I'm sorry, bi-monthly kind of basis where I just reach out, send a text message, hey, how things are going. They also receive a magazine that I publish out, and I stay in touch with them that way. That's also been a great source of referral business for me, just sending them a postcard or a magazine, just staying in touch. Um, I'm not huge on like this whole CRM thing, to be honest with you, because I believe it's more of a personalization. Again, when you close that transaction, who's going to refer you business already. I mean, the relationship if you've developed it, and how you leave that relationship at the closing table is really ultimately one of the other ways that I think people kind of remember you. So what I also implemented was I started donating a portion of my own commission to a charity of that person's choice, and in their name. And that's since they have their contact information, the charity, they're also able to remember me that I was the one who made the donation for them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Interesting thoughts on the CRM. And I was just going to ask if and I agree with what you're saying. Just like, I think in general, real estate is a very personal and relationship, type of engagements with people. But I was going to ask if you had any like systems in place with like when and like how to reach out, or is it just like for you, just natural and um, sort of keep it in your head type of deal?
Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of this natural thing for me. Again, I view the CRM as a holding place for people who will never buy or sell with me. It's just a matter of giving them information. I do send a weekly email, a market content email to those in my database. So any people from my open houses or that I come in contact with who are willing to give their contact information, they go automatically into like a constant contact where they send, or if they get a weekly email from me.
Makes sense. I get it. From another lens, like as my company, we provide a CRM, so I see a lot of different use cases. One very common one is to actually use it for a client. So let's
Mhm.
say a client is in your CRM and they have an anniversary date coming up. Like it's some sort of information that you have that you might not remember every single year.
Right.
So, things like that, you can use it as a tool, I guess. Um, so, we are living in this online world now, and I think everyone's attentions and focuses are online more than ever. So, as a business, that's where you also have to be. So, what are you doing online right now specifically? I know you said you're a hybrid and sort of with old and new, but anything specific online you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I first social media wise, I mean, I do like some of the campaigns that are out there. I definitely utilize that just to kind of boost some of my listings. I do choose to just stay focused on one social media platform as opposed to the many that are out there. And I'm always thinking that video is so much more important than just pictures. So if I keep those kind of three things in mind and they seem to be working for me, then that's what I'm going to be, that's what I use, so to speak. I choose video over pictures, pick one platform, and just keep it consistent.
Nice, nice. What platform are you using?
I'm just on Facebook. Everything else is just,
Facebook?
I just would rather have my 14-year-old daughter to do it. I read something where TikTok is the new thing. I'm like, there's no way that I could tick or talk in any direction at this point.
That's hilarious. That's funny. You touched on it earlier about how using technology during the pandemic and COVID to still, help your clients. How do you see technology changing or helping real estate in the next, call it 5 to 10 years?
I mean, technology has been great for the industry, I believe. I mean, what I was using was just pictures and stills, and I advanced into a Matterport kind of listing presentation and of course doing Zoom listing appointments and buyer consults in the same time. There were agents, I want to say, freaking out, and they really were. And I'm like, wait, everything is like right there. It's not that big of a deal, but they just weren't prepared for it. I think technology is going to be there's going to be multiple streams or multiple ways that we can utilize technology, and it's going to help our business. But nothing is ever going to take away the moment a home buyer walks into our home and feels like this is their home. I don't think we will ever take that away. And I noticed that that's what we were missing kind of during this pandemic. People wanted to feel and have that emotional connection to the home. I remember when I purchased my home, I literally sat on the couch and told everyone at the open house to leave because this was my home. So not to have that experience, for someone may be a little bit difficult. I don't think technology will ever take that away.
That's a common trend and insight I see here from other realtors, which I agree with, is like, this is such a relationship driven business. And I think technology can be utilized, it can use tools to help you along the way. But to take that away, I think I agree. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, there were customers saying, "No, no, come on over," and I'm like, "No, we can't, we can't. We have to do this, online." And they were the ones who were giving the pushback. It wasn't me. I was like, "Let's go. I'll put my mask on, gloves, and whole bodysuit on, whatever you need me to do, to list your home." But they were the ones who were kind of giving the pushback as, we want to see you and meet you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Totally agree. Um, all right. I do want to be mindful of your time, Jennifer. I do like to end off each chat with what I call the top three. You ready?
Okay, top three. I
Heavy
think I'm
hitters,
ready.
heavy hitters. No, number one, your top vacation spot. Although, thinking vacations now, it's probably a foresight, but
I was going to say we're installing a pool, so that's going to be my new vacation spot. Um, Barbados, and I'm a
nice,
I'm a huge cruiser, and Barbados was the best island I've been to.
nice, nice. Number two, your top real estate book or resource.
My top real estate book would be, and it's not a real estate book. It's "Make 'Em Beg to Be Your Client" by Dr. Angela Lauria. She just talks about how to really attract clients to you.
The name of that one again?
Make them beg to be your client.
So I'll check that. I've never heard of that one. I'll check it out. And lastly, Jennifer, if you can go back, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you were just starting out in real estate?
Oh, that's a good one. I wish I knew um, to take care of myself first in order to take care of the others, my customers and clients around me.
Love it. Love it. Totally agree. That's a perfect way to end this. Jennifer, thank you so much. I had a great time chatting with you. I really do appreciate it. I think a lot of people listening are going to find this very valuable. So thank you very much.
No, you bet. It was a blast. Thank you.
Awesome. I hope we can do it again sometime and stay well and best of luck.
Yeah, yeah. Can I give your audience my book for free where they can
Oh,
download
yeah,
it?
yeah. We got to talk about that. You mentioned that. So, yeah, what do you want to do with the audience here? You want to give away the
Yeah.
book?
If they go to rockstaragenttraining.com, they can download the book, Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent, for free.
Perfect. I'm gonna add that links and information in the show notes. So thank you so much for that. And awesome. We should do it again.
All right, Costa. Thank you. Have a great
All
one.
right, Jennifer. Take care.